9. All right, so today we are going to be discussing entries 268 to 308 in the Diary of Saint Faustina. So this was another good section. She talks about suffering and how that brings her closer to God. She talks furthermore about the skepticism that the people in her life have, not only her confessor, but even her own self, and just this constant battle of just making sure that this is truly of God, these visions that she's having, and not something made up in her mind, some sort of weird delusion or something that's evil. She shares a little bit about the suffering that she goes through, and then also about the great dryness and discouragement that she had. So to me, that's so cool, because not that I'm happy that she had spiritual dryness and discouragement, of course, but to think that saints went through these same things that we all experience is really powerful and very cool to hear straight from her diary that this is something she experienced too and became a saint. So for today's conversation, what stuck out the most to me was in entry number 306. All right, so she says, "These minor transgressions are like little moths that try to destroy the spiritual life within us. And they surely will destroy it if the soul is aware of these minor transgressions and yet disregards them as small things." And then she says, "I can see nothing that is small in the religious life." But I think that that would be the same for any vocation or just any person. It's those small moments that are extremely important. As we see in scripture in Luke, I wrote down the exact chapter 16, verse 10, where we are told that the person who is faithful in the small matters will be faithful in the big ones, and the person who isn't in small matters won't in the big ones either. And so, and that's so true. One of my favorite things about Pope John Paul II, who's now a saint, is that he always encouraged people to strive for greatness. He has a quote where the world offers you comfort, but you were not made for comfort, you were made for greatness. Something very similar to that was his quote. You know, this just made for greatness thing. I think so often people settle for good or okay, and I think we need to strive for greatness, for the most ultimate perfection that we can find. Now, being human, we will never be perfect, and we can't beat ourselves up over the fact that no matter how hard we try, we have imperfections, but that's where we rely on God and His grace and goodness. But this comparison that these minor transgressions are like little moths that try to destroy the spiritual life within us. So yeah, this is just a reminder for me and for all of us that these small temptations in life matter. The little itty bitty things where, it's not really a big deal, it's not a horrible sin, kind of not really even a sin. Those moments where we can easily justify things, they add up. And it's just so important to be faithful in the smallest matters. And one last thought on this is, for me, that's always been something on my mind and very important. But throughout time, there were certain things where maybe I would be faithful in a small matter, and other people would say to me, "Oh, that's not a big deal," or "Oh, you don't have to do that," or "You're overthinking it, you're overanalyzing it." And then over time, I kind of let it change me, where I became less faithful in really, really small matters. But I realized in reading this and just, as time goes on, that was such a good part of me that I want to really fight to keep. And I think we all should fight to keep that that desire to be faithful in the really small things that really aren't a huge deal. But if we can practice that resistance, it's like that spiritual exercise again, where it's like, okay, if we can resist these little itty bitty temptations that really aren't a big deal, that will strengthen us. So when there are things that come on our path that are a big deal, or when we're really tempted to do the wrong thing or not make such a good choice, that's when we will be able to draw upon our strength from the other experiences. So this was a great reminder, be faithful in the small things, especially during this time of Lent, while we have a heightened awareness of the areas in our life where we fall short or that we struggle, that we can remember it's those little moments. So I hope this was as good of a reminder for you about this whole concept as it was for me. And again, thank you for watching. Thank you for those of you who have been following along. It's a lot of fun knowing that I'm not alone in this, but it's also, if you're not reading it, that's totally cool too. I hope that these videos possibly inspire you to read the diary on your own. All right, well, God bless you all. Have a wonderful day today, and I will see ya in the next video.